In this class, I wanted to go into a deeper exploration of the standing postures, the warrior family of asanas and other postures that relate to that. So I'm not going to be necessarily introducing anything new. I just want to work on refining the postures a little bit. So we are going to take a little time warming up and preparing the body to do these. So let's get going. So I just want to start off just really emphasizing so much of the warrior postures, the standing postures require balance, and balance really starts with the feet. So just to start off the class, let's start in a Tadasana, a mountain pose, and make sure the outsides of your feet are parallel to each other. Go ahead and lift and separate the toes if you can, and then place them back down on the ground and really try to grip the ground with your feet. So real strong feet, engaging the arches. And that's called Padabandha. That's a foot lock is what it translates to. And that really helps to create balance, that real active foot. So from there, go ahead and engage the thighs, engage the core, shoulders back and down. And just close your eyes for a second and just landing here on your mat, feeling that the place where your feet touch your yoga mat or the ground, just really being conscious of the surface of your feet, really rooting your feet down into the ground. And just take a moment to notice how you're feeling in your body, what your energy is like right now. And let's go ahead and start to cultivate the breath a bit. So start to cultivate an ujjayi breath. So just nice, strong inhale and exhale, and try to make those audible. With the exhale, really engaging the core a little bit. And with each inhale, just growing a little bit taller. Really pressing your feet down into the ground and trying to extend your spine up from the tailbone all the way up to the back of your neck. So let's go ahead and start warming up here with some half sun salute with the chair variation. I want you to do chair pose to start to warm up the legs a little bit. So feet can either be about hip distance, or it actually makes it a little bit easier if it's comfortable in your body to have the feet together, because that way when you're coming forward in chair, your knees can touch, and it just makes for a really good alignment in chair pose. So let's go ahead and go through a few half sun salutes like that. So inhale, chair. And exhale, fold. Really soft knees this first time around, just hanging out. Hang out at the bottom of this, maybe rocking around a little bit from side to side. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, fold again. Real nice, slow inhale back into chair pose. And exhale, hands to prayer. And again, sweeping the arms up into chair. Legs are strong, feet are strong, that Padabandha. Exhaling, folding. Again, just feel free to keep your knees bent nice and soft as you're waking up the hamstrings. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, fold again. Inhale, chair, really stretching up through the fingertips. And exhale, samastiti, hands to prayer. Inhale, chair. And fold. Inhale, flat back. Really extending through the spine. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, chair, really planting the feet down into the ground, reaching up. And exhale, samastiti. A couple more of those. Inhale, chair. Exhaling, folding. Picking up the pace just a little bit. Inhale, flat back. And fold. Inhale, chair. And exhale, hands to prayer. Last one here, sweeping the arms up into chair pose, exhaling, folding. Inhale, flat back. And fold again. Inhale, chair. And exhale, standing, hands to prayer. Release the hands. Close your eyes for a second. Again, really feeling your feet on the ground, just rooting down into the ground through the soles of your feet. And try to keep that breath going. So go ahead and grab a chair. We're just going to do a forward fold here. And one of the reasons I wanted to emphasize this forward fold is just to emphasize the rotation of the legs. In the warrior poses, the legs are, in warrior 2, we're externally rotating the legs. We're turning the leg out. In warrior 1, we're internally rotating the leg. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that as we're doing other things in the practice. So outside of the feet are parallel. We're just going to do a basic forward fold here. But I want you to really think about spiraling the legs inwards. So your inner thighs are going back, and that makes the forward fold easier. So just standing here, if you can imagine that with your feet planted on the ground, that you're energetically moving the feet towards each other, the toes towards each other. And you'll notice that that actually starts to create the forward fold. That starts to make you want to fold forward. It makes the fold easier. So folding forward over the chair, we're going to hang out, just try to wake up the hamstrings just a little bit. But while you're in this forward fold, really try to think about engaging the feet, keeping the feet nice and active, and spiraling the toes towards each other and the inner thighs back. And breathing. So just trying to open up your hamstrings here. If it makes it a little bit easier, just go ahead and come up a little bit on your inhale and fold forward a little bit further on the exhale. Just make it nice and comfortable, especially as we're just starting this practice. Slowly getting the hamstrings warm. And we're not going to hang out here for too long. And so slowly coming up from there, just to the point where you can place your hands on the chair, put your feet forward here. We're going to work on a high lunge to try to start to open up the hip flexors a little bit. So send your right foot back. And first, let's just do a bit of a runner's lunge. Just move your calf around, just make it feel good. So really just sort of focusing on the back foot here and stretching out the calves. So with that nice wide stance, make sure that the front shin is perpendicular to the ground, that the knee isn't tracking past the ankle. And start to try to bring all of your balance into your feet, really pressing down into that front foot. And before you move your hands from the chair, see if you can take all the weight out of your hands. Engaging the core, that will help you do this, really pushing back through the back foot. And if you can, slowly rising up into a high lunge, crescent lunge. Hands on your hips to start off with. If that feels okay, if you feel pretty balanced, go ahead and bring the hands up overhead. It'll really help in this pose if your feet are sort of wide enough apart on the mat to really give you a nice base. So if you're finding yourself off balance, think about moving your feet a little bit further apart towards the sides of the mat. So in this pose, just really breathing, keeping up that ujjayi breath. Stretching up through the fingertips, really pressing down through the front foot and back through the back heel. Engage the core. We want to feel a bit of an opening here in that right hip flexor. So go ahead and come forward here. Step that foot forward. I'll step the other foot back. And again, let's start off just by doing a runner's lunge. So stretching out that calf, just making this feel good, just moving around a little bit here. Whatever this looks like in your body. So again, we want to make sure before we come up into the high lunge that the front shin is perpendicular to the ground, if the knee isn't too far ahead of the ankle or ahead of the ankle at all. So really pressing down through that front foot, pressing back through the back leg, nice strong left leg here. Try to really balance into your feet before you take your hands off the chair. Bring your hands to hips. Torso is really nice and straight up. The more you bring your torso straight up and back, the more you'll feel the stretch in these left hip flexors. And if it's okay in your body, go ahead and bring the arms up overhead, really stretching up through the fingertips and breathing. It's a really strong posture. It takes a lot of strength in the legs. Really great way to warm up the legs and also open up the hips. Preparing for the other standing postures. So 2 more big breaths here. And go ahead and bring your hands forward. Step that left foot forward. We're going to lose the chair for now. So go ahead and grab your blocks, or if you don't have blocks, a couple thick books will do. And we're going to work on just opening up the hips and the legs just a little bit more before we do the standing postures. Work on Anjaneya Asana. So either blocks or books out in front of you. Stand on your knees and bring the right foot forward. So to start off with here, just really try to bring your pelvis down towards the ground. It is okay in this one if your knee tracks past the ankle, because there's not as much pressure on the knee in the low lunge here with your back knee on the ground. But try to make yourself really nice and tall in this posture. Try to make your spine as straight as you can so you're not just rounding over the front leg. That's where the blocks really come in handy. If you don't have blocks, you can always just put your fingertips on the ground. So however this is working for you. So let's just start to open up the hamstrings a little bit more and the hip flexors a little bit more. So inhale, straightening that front leg, coming back a little bit, and exhale forward. Really tall when you're coming forward. Spine is extending up. Inhale back. And exhale. 3 more of those. Inhale. And exhale. And last one. Inhale. And exhale. So if you can, coming up to balance here, you can put your hands on this front leg. If you have blocks, you can bring them back beside you. But coming up so that we're taller in this posture. Again, we want the torso coming straight up. And the more you engage the core and bring that lower back so it's more straight. It's not just coming forward. The more you'll feel the stretch through here, through the front, through those left hip flexors. So if you're balanced, you can bring the arms up overhead and really extending up through the fingertips. Make sure that top of the back foot is really rooted down into the ground. That will help you balance, and also pushing down through that front heel. So just one more breath here. Go ahead and grab the blocks, move them forward again. Bring that right foot back, left foot forward. get established here. So again, try to make yourself really nice and tall. Try to make your spine nice and straight while bringing your hips closer to the ground, the pelvis closer to the ground, and seeing if you can start to feel the stretch in your hips a little bit here. And breathing. With each inhale, trying to grow a little bit taller. And with each exhale, just let something go. Just check and see if you're grimacing here, or if you're feeling any tension in the body. I know these can be difficult poses, especially if you're not used to doing them, but try to do them in a way that feels steady and comfortable. And if it's not, just back up a little bit, try to come to a place where it feels okay. So let's go ahead and inhale, straighten that front leg, bring the hips back. Exhale forward. Inhale back. And exhale. Inhale back. And exhale. 2 more. And from here, either bringing the blocks back or coming back just a little bit, balancing whatever way you need to. Really pushing the top of the back foot into the ground. That will help you balance. And trying to engage the core, rotating the tailbone forward. Pelvis is rotating back to really stretch that right hip flexor. If it's available to you, bringing the arms up overhead, really stretching up through the fingertips. And continuing to engage the core. We're really working on trying to feel this stretch here in the right hip flexors. That's what we're focusing on. And the more you tilt the pelvis back, the more you engage the core, the more you'll feel that stretch there. But again, please make this something that's steady and comfortable. It shouldn't be painful. So go ahead and bring the hands back down to the blocks. Bring that foot back. Let's just take a little child's pose or puppy pose. Stretching out the shoulders. Taking a little break here. Keep up with the breath. Just notice how you're feeling at this point. So let's go ahead and come back to standing. And so we're going to do a wide leg forward bend here. Just getting ready for doing the warrior poses. If you need a chair for this, just put a chair right out in front of you. But otherwise, bring your feet as wide as is comfortable on your mat. And really, again, work on engaging the feet, making sure they're nice and strong. The legs are nice and strong. Inhale into a bit of a back bend. And exhale, fold forward. Let's bring your fingertips to the ground. Or you could have blocks in front of you. You could have a chair in front of you. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Try to keep your back as straight as possible. So try not to just round forward in the back. So almost work on trying to arch your lower back. And that'll probably work on bringing it to more of a neutral position. Unless you're super flexible, you're probably not going to achieve that arch in the lower back in this position. So just moving around a little bit in this position from side to side, just shifting your weight one side and then the other, really trying to work on feeling the stretch through those inner thighs, through the adductors. So whether you've got blocks or the chair, we're going to do a bit of a twist here. So if you just have your fingertips on the floor, just put your left fingertips right underneath your face. Chair, same thing. Blocks, same thing. We're going to twist to the right on a nice inhale. And exhale back to center and do the same thing to the other side. Keep breathing. Inhale, exhale back to center. Inhale, twist, and exhale. That felt good. And just finish up on your left side here. Coming back to center. Before you come up out of this, bring your hands to your hips and with a really straight back, rising up on an inhale. So we're going to go ahead and move into Warrior 2 here. If you need a break, just hit pause, take a break, do what you need to do. So we're going to turn that right foot out into Warrior 2. So this is an external hip rotation. So we're really working on opening up the inner thighs like we just were in that last pose. So, and as our right foot is planted there, facing straight forward, 90 degrees, straight forward on our mat, just have an energetic action of actually spiraling that knee out to the side. And you'll feel that really opening up the center thigh. At the same time, really planting down through the back foot. Try to make sure your torso is nice and tall. We tend to lean forward in this. So try to make sure your torso is coming straight up and down. And reaching out through the fingertips. Looking over those right fingers. So again, the active spiral of that front foot out towards the right. Back foot is really anchoring down. That back leg is nice and strong. And you're growing tall through your spine, stretching out from the heart center, out through your fingertips. And don't forget to breathe. And let's go ahead and do a reverse warrior here. So sending that backhand down the back leg. Try not to put pressure on your knee here. So just keep those fingers really light on that back leg and try just to feel a stretch through that right side body. You don't want this to be a back bend. Again, with the energy of that front foot spiraling out. So external hip rotation. So coming back to center, you might need a chair for this next one. We're just going to do a side stretch. And so you can just bring your elbow or your forearm to your thigh here and bring that left arm up overhead. Really stretching up through the left fingertips and down through the left toes. So trying to emphasize the stretch to that left side body. Breathing. So bringing that arm back down, go ahead and straighten that front leg. Turn that foot back in. Let's do a quick forward fold just to balance things out. So arms up into a gentle back bend. Fold forward. Just move around just a little bit from side to side. Again, before you come up, bring your hands to your hips. Really nice straight back. Inhaling up. And over to the other side. So left foot turns out, bending into that left knee. Active spiral of this leg opening up. So it's like your knee is rotating out to this side there. So you really want to feel that openness through your hips here. So particularly the front foot. So back leg is really strong. Try to make sure you're not leaning over that front foot. We all have a tendency to do that. So really finding your base here before bringing your arms out into Warrior 2, looking over those left fingertips. Renew the energy in your feet. Pada Bandha in the feet. Renew the spiral of that front knee and try to really make that back leg nice and strong to give you nice stability here. And breathing. Let's go ahead and come into a reverse warrior here. So sending that right hand down the back leg. Again, try not to put pressure on the knee. Just keep fingertips there. Really feeling the stretch of that left side body, stretching up through the fingertips and breathing. So back to center, back to warrior two, and either grab the chair to do this, so you have support behind you, or bring forearm to your thigh and bring that right arm up overhead, really stretching up through the fingertips, rotating that palm back. Make sure your shoulders aren't coming up towards your ear. The palm rotation really helps to prevent that. So stretching up through those fingertips and down through the right foot. Again, active engagement of both feet. And that line of energy going down the whole right side body. So coming back up towards warrior two, straighten that left foot. Turn the feet back towards each other. One more forward fold to balance things out. So inhale back. Exhale, fold forward. And breathing. Let go. Make sure your neck is relaxed. I know these standing postures take a lot of energy. So take a nice big inhale here. And just let it go through your mouth, maybe with a sigh. And another one of those. So again, bring your hands to your hips. Don't come up yet. And on a nice inhale with a really straight back coming up out of that. And exhale, bring your feet together. So let's just take a break for a moment. If you're still comfortable on your feet, let's go ahead and go back where we started in nice Tadasana. If you need to take a seat, take a seat. But let's just ground and center for a moment here. So again, renewing that energy, just noticing where the soles of your feet are touching your yoga mat. Feel the surface of your feet, the surface of the skin, what the mat feels like on your feet. And breathing. So go ahead and blink your eyes open. Grab your chair again. And we're going to work on pyramid pose. And the foot position is very much like warrior one, but this pose is a good thing to do before warrior one. So starting off, left foot back. You want that foot to be at about a 45-degree angle, or maybe pointing a little bit more forward. And the action of this foot, you want to be the same as this leg, You want to be the same as we do in the forward fold, where we're spiraling the inner thighs back, because that really helps to rotate the hip forward. So just try to make your hips go straight forward here. And don't worry if they're a little bit to the side. But the idea is we want to work towards squaring the hips towards the front of the mat. And the way you really do that is to actively inwardly spiral this thigh here. So the left thigh, the inner thigh, is spiraling back. So try to keep both legs straight, energy through both feet. If for any reason your calves aren't open enough to do this pose like this, you can shorten the stance or just bring your heel off the ground. But it's good if you can try to keep the heel on the ground, because that really helps us to work on that inward spiral that we need for warrior one. So nice straight leg, and we're going to bend over the front leg. So grabbing onto the chair here, nice hamstring stretch here, and breathing. Again, in this one, you want to see if you can make your back as straight as possible, so you're not just rounding here. We're really looking to feel a stretch in that front hamstring, and you'll also get a little bit of a stretch on the outside of that right leg, just going down the outside of the leg. It's actually the English translation of this pose is intense side stretch pose, which refers to the outside of that leg. So go ahead and bring your hand, your left hand, to the center of the chair. Right hand, the back of the palm, back of the hand to your lower back, and rotate towards the right there. Just doing a bit of a spinal twist. As you're doing the spinal twist, really engaging the back leg and sending energy out through that back leg to try to keep your hips squared. And then go ahead and bring both hands back to the chair. Left foot forward, right foot back. The stance for this one, we're not looking for anything nearly as wide as the high lunge. So your foot just comes back, about less than a leg's distance. So, but whatever this looks like for you. So again, just standing up and finding our feet here. So you really want to work on it, internally rotating that right leg to try to bring your hips so that they're pointing straight forward. It actually helps to put your hands, your palms on your hips and almost imagine that they're headlights and just see where your palms are facing. If they're facing way out to the side here, see if there's a way that you can internally spiral that back leg to bring yourself so you're facing straight forward on your mat. So inhale here and exhale, folding forward over that leg. Again, you want to try to keep a really nice straight back. It's more important to have a straight back than it is to fold forward. And breathing, engaging your core as you're doing this, continuing to spiral that inner thigh back. That right foot is like it's turning towards the center without actually moving the foot. And really feeling the stretch through the hamstrings on the left side there, as well as the outside of the leg. Make sure that front foot, the left foot, is pointing straight forward. If it's pointing off to the side, you might not be getting as much of a hamstring stretch or the side stretch through the leg. So let's go ahead and come up out of that nice and slow. Move the chair. And now we're going to work on Warrior One from there, just keeping in mind the things that we just did. So this is a bit of a wider stance than what we just did. See if you can bring that front foot forward here. So we're working with the left foot back here. Again, the back foot's about 45-degree angle. As you bend into that front knee, see if you can spiral that inner thigh back to turn your hips towards the front of the mat. Back leg is really nice and strong. And again, we opened up the hip flexors and the low lunge and the high lunge earlier. That's going to come in handy here. See if you can lean back, engage your core, and if your balance is okay, bring the hands up overhead. So in this one, you don't want the front foot spiraling out. Unlike Warrior Two, this is not a hip opener like that. We're just spiraling in on the back, and the front leg is really nice and solid and strong, just going straight forward and breathing. If it's difficult to balance like this, it's great just to keep your hands on your hips. Your hands to prayer tends to be a little bit easier. It's more important to focus on rotating that back leg, engage the core, feel the stretch of the hip flexors, and really pressing down through the front foot. The upper body is almost window dressing, but it is a nice strong posture. So let's go ahead and straighten that front leg. Turn the feet towards the side of the mat. Turn towards the other side. You might need to bring your feet out wider towards the side of the mat just to provide a nice base, nice balance. So again, bending into that front foot. I always find this side on my warrior pose is more difficult. So really actively spiraling this back leg in to create that rotation towards the front foot. Engage that back leg. Really pressing down through the front foot. See if you can engage the core, come back a little bit. It's going to be a stretch here in the hip flexors if that works for you. If this is really difficult, you can always keep your hands over a chair to the side to help you out, just the back of a chair here. If you can, bringing the arms up overhead. Again, renewing the energy of that internal rotation of that back leg. The inner thigh is going towards the back. The foot is turning like it's turning towards the front of the mat. And breathing. If you've got your hands up, really stretching up through the fingertips, engage the core, engage the feet. Really nice and strong through the back leg. So go ahead and straighten that leg. Turn both feet back towards the center. One more wide leg forward bend just to let go. So inhale back. Exhale, fold. Letting the neck go. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhaling all the way up. Bringing the feet together. So we're just going to finish up here. Couple things on the ground. Just a spinal twist that'll help us release tension and let go at the end of this practice. So bring your hands out to this side. Either you can bring your palms straight out on the ground or just the arms up in sort of a cactus position. Scoot your butt a little bit over towards the left. Towards the right, and drop your knees towards the left. And breathe. Trying to keep that right shoulder anchored on the ground. If you want to increase the stretch, you can bring that left hand over and pull the knees into the stretch a little bit more. Just letting go here. So bringing the knees back up to center. Scoot your butt over a little bit towards the left now. Knees falling towards the right. And then again, if you want to use that left or the right hand for come further into the spinal twist here. Just try to let go into this. The breath is slowing down. Probably feels good to be laying down. Those standing postures can take a lot of energy. So coming back to center. Go ahead and hug the knees in towards your chest. Rock around a little bit from side to side. If happy baby is something that you're able to do, just grab onto the outsides of the feet. Otherwise, just keep hugging your knees into your chest. Doing the same thing here. Go ahead and stretch long onto your mat. Stretch the legs out, palms facing up. Just a very brief shavasana here. Let's try to let everything go. Notice what it feels like to stop. Letting go of the breath. Just noticing what your breath is doing now. Just noticing if your face is relaxed, eyes are relaxed, jaw is relaxed. And starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes around. Bring your knees back into your chest. Rolling over onto whichever side is more comfortable. And then pushing yourself up from here. So, I hope that worked for you. I hope it's not too technical to get into the hip rotation, but my goal here is for you to slowly start to understand these postures more and more, especially with the warrior poses. I've been doing yoga for over 25 years now, and I find that I notice new things in the warrior poses all the time. And it's just wonderful to just try to be present in the poses, even though we do so many of these things again and again. It's just try to have that beginner's mind each time you come into them. So anyway, I hope that felt good, and I hope it sets a good tone for the rest of your day. Namaste.